Okay, so now the question asks, does boarding school really feel like a second home, or is it just another cage with nicer walls? That is such an interesting question. My opinion would be it depends on your background, where did you come from? Because personally, I found boarding school as such a heaven, regardless the strict rules I have I have to follow. Okay, like all the school rules that I had to follow, and there are honestly things that I don't actually agree, but since it's just there are rules, I gotta follow them and obey them because I'm a part of the boarding school. And I would say there are thousands of opportunities that I gained by entering boarding school, which I couldn't. There is no way I could get that kind of opportunity if I stayed at home and learning in my old daily school, sekolah harian. Especially when it comes to your social networking, I got to meet plenty of friends that came from different backgrounds. Then you can share different opinions about a topic, and here comes a really an absolute significant change happened in my life, which is since I was in my preschool. Okay, I was sent to a genius outlet preschool, and basically the entire syllabus was is in English. I learned everything in English. Okay, I entered when I was as early as 5 years old, and then I continued my education at a high performance primary school where the environment majority of them speaks English as well, and majority of the people are not the same race as me. Okay, and then I continued learning, receiving education in my secondary school, where it's still a school that is organized by my race. And I'm sorry for if this is a bit sensitive when it comes to race, but I have to tell this because it opens my mind wider than anyone can make me. So when I enter my secondary school, it used to be an excellent school, and it was one of the best. Okay, I mean that's kind of biased actually, but I think it was a really great school, and again the majority of the students there are not my race, are not my religion, and yes, the environment is still most of them speak English. Okay, but like I rarely been exposed to this to this type of social circle that shares the same language, that shares the same mother tongue. And back in the schools that I had gone to, it's not that I don't friend those like those friends that Malay friends. It's just that most of the things that I do are usually done by the people who are not as the same race as me. So most of the time I spend my school life with non-religion, with the people that are not sharing the same religion as me, which sometimes it does hinders certain of my religion obligations, that when we want to do something together as a team project or anything, they have to wait for me finishing my prayer, or they have to, there are certain things that I do that I must obey as a Muslim, and they have to tolerate with that. It's not that they're really nice friends, I appreciate that, but it's just that at the same time I felt really left out, that if anyone out there is facing this similar situation as me, you really need to have a really strong iman, really strong Islam principle in yourself, so that you don't actually be off track. Like you will begin to ignore your obligations as a Muslim. Like for example, maybe you take off your hijab just to mingle with your friends. You start to live your 5 times prayer just so that you can fulfill whatever that you need to fulfill in order to be together with your teammates. Yeah, okay. And then when I enter my boarding school, which is where as a second intake student, I was I was 16 years old. Okay, one thing that I was afraid coming there is how am I going to mingle with my own people, because I've never been in this kind of situation before, and that is one of thing that I fear of. I was fearing of. Okay, then after then, so finally I entered the school, and I was surprised to know that there are hundreds of variations of successful students, which I love to analyze. Okay, I am an analytic person and judgmental, you can say that. Okay, I do judge people and I do analyze them, and here comes where I discover a lot of things, especially when it comes to becoming successful in various versions. So basically, in my boarding school, I discovered that there is no such universal version to be success. Even like if you are a Muslim, you will be tied to a belief that to be successful in the dunya and in the deen, you have to be really the most almost perfect Muslim that do every obligation, every sunnah, and do all the tahajjud, all the extra worships to the one. Okay. However, I also found that there are versions where they have such a very sharp tongue. They have very bad mouths, love gossiping about people, but they're still succeed. They whatever that they learn, they could digest really fast, even faster than those who are closer to the one. And not just that, there are also just a lot of variations. Maybe I can make a specific podcast episode for this. And it opened my mind that I also have a vision to be successful, and I have the choice to be what kind of version of success that I want to be. Do I want to be a successful student with a good attitude, with a polite and beautiful personality, or I also can choose to be a successful student with a really straightforward mouth, with a really honest opinions given out to people, with a really not sugar-coated advices. So I have the choice to be that version, because back then before I entered the boarding school, I have this specific mindset, to be successful there's only one way, which is to take the long way as a Muslim, where you have to do all the complete cycle. But then coming there, there are actually other versions, and you don't have to worry if one version doesn't work for you. It's just means that there are other versions that work for you as well. So that opened my mind really wide. I love coming there. If you ask me, boarding school was a heaven. Okay, it was a heaven for me. And apart from that, when it comes to money management, okay, I started to feel that it felt like a dream, because I started to get everything that I wanted. Yeah, maybe like as I grew up, okay, my parents, like as I grow up, facing a huge exam like the SPM, they start to give their best. Okay, parents began to give their best to their kids, because okay, this is quite a shame, but let's just say I had never have a pair of sports shoes, but when it comes to boarding school, it was one of the compulsory item you need to have, which is sports shoe, and that was my first time getting a sports shoe. This is weird, but back then I wasn't a sporty student. I wasn't really an athlete, and if I had to join any sport events, I would just wear my school shoes. Yeah. Okay, and like that is just one thing that I felt is such a heaven, where coming there, whatever that I wanted became a necessity because of the school requests, because of that is what the school request is to have. Okay, and sports was one of the one of the example, and I was elated. I was jubilant. I felt over the moon. Okay, I was over the moon, and I I actually have had a different dream boarding school, but I did not get that. Okay, nonetheless, what I got instead was actually what I wanted, like what I deeply wanted, not just because of the name, because of the big name of the school, because of the popularity that it holds. No, yeah. Okay, it's just getting longer. I know you're busy to listen to me, but that's my opinion lah. Okay, and if you ask me, should you go to a boarding school? That you have the answer. Okay, in my case, both of the parties are on agreement, which my parents want me to send to boarding school because they want me to be independent, and I also want to go to boarding school to escape the life that I have to face at home. And I wanted to, to expand my social circle and see the world further. Yeah, so it depends on you. If you think you need something that is uncomfortable, you need to leave out of your comfort zone to grow for the sake of your personal growth, then yes, boarding school is a place. And I tell you, boarding school is pain. Okay, it is painful. That is undeniable. There will be not just several, but countless attitudes of people that you have to face, especially when it comes to domates. You don't know who are you going to get, and you have to tolerate to them. You have to control yourself how to not actually hate them, because you just need to control, because you are going to live the same room as them and you can't get rid of them. So how do you handle your emotions when it comes to facing people that is out of your desired criteria? Because we can't really choose people around us, but we can control how our reaction is towards people. That, yeah. So that's all. I would say, yeah, you should, because it's such, like, in rare cases you're actually exposed to many things, unless you are really exposed to a lot of things. You like to go to, you are allowed to go here and there. You're also exposed to events, big events. Then it's okay, you don't need boarding school for that. You already have what you need within you. But to anyone out there who are lacking of opportunities, okay, I tell you, boarding school will be such a golden road for you to go to better destinations. There will be huge events you are able to organize, to join, to participate, that are specialized and privileged to boarding school students, which you will not get this if you stay in the daily school. Yeah. Okay, lol. Gosh, my opinion is so great. Yeah. But there is one that is a price for it, that's for sure, which is it's gonna be a competitive environment. You have to learn how to adapt with yourself. You have to learn being ignored, being neglected in a silent way, just because you are useless to them. You are no function. Okay, your academics aren't really great, and people don't actually look for you, and you start to feel like you don't have friends. That is a point in your life where you learn that you were born to be useful to the country, to the people around you, or you are worth nothing. Honestly, if you are useless and you don't have anything to offer to the institution. Yeah, like, why would people keep you if you don't benefit them in any ways? Yes, that, yeah, of course. So I 100% support going to boarding school. Okay, for me, as a person who rarely go for outings, who rarely join big events, okay, because of those boundaries that I have to face at home. And boarding school is an absolute freedom for me. I feel I feel really free, and it's gonna be a bit sad because my school session semester is ending soon, and that means I have to stay at home for for a while until I get my SPM results. And yeah, it's just I am enjoying my life really well. Yeah. And of course, if I happen to be a profound resilient student human out there, I would thank 99% for the lessons that I got in my boarding school.